Mjolnir didn't reject Superman by accident. It was coded, not enchanted. Iron Man feared what Superman could become with it, so he rewrote the hammer's mind behind Thor's back. But when Thor fell in battle, the hammer floated to Superman and still refused him, until someone unlocked the hidden protocol, and Earth's gods learned who Iron Man really feared. The battlefield smelled of ozone and ash. Bodies lay still, some stunned, some never getting up again. Thunderclouds circled the sky in slow chaos, as if nature hadn't decided whether the war was over or just catching its breath. Thor's hammer, Mjolnir, trembled in the dirt, its metal faintly glowing with flickers of storm energy. Not far from it, the god of thunder lay unconscious, blood streaking down his temple, armor cracked, one arm limp. The battle had pushed him past exhaustion, but he was breathing, barely. Superman landed beside him, his boots sending small cracks through the broken stone. His cape fluttered gently in the breeze, torn at the edges, scorched near the bottom. His eyes shifted from Thor to the hammer. He didn't hesitate. He walked forward, slow and certain, every footstep echoing with the weight of a decision already made. Mjolnir stirred as if sensing him. It lifted, just slightly, hovering a few inches above the rubble. Then it trembled violently and fell. Superman blinked. He extended his hand again. Nothing. No lightning. No glow. No worth. He didn't look confused. Just hurt. Back in the sanctum, Dr. Strange sat in a meditative pose, but his mind was restless. He had seen something. A ripple in the cosmic equilibrium. Not magical, technological. Something is wrong with the hammer, he whispered. Weeks earlier, long before this battlefield, Iron Man had stood inside one of his personal vaults, where stolen readings from Asgard's weaponry were encrypted into arcane code Tony never truly understood. Yet he studied them, pulled them apart, built his own models, simulated Mjolnir's behavior. Magic has patterns, he muttered, moving holograms around midair. And if it has patterns, it can be hijacked. He paused, running a final scan. In the simulation, Mjolnir refused everyone, even Thor. Good. Then he added one variable, Kryptonian DNA. The simulation flashed red. Error. System override. Tony grinned bitterly. He leaned closer. That'll have to do. It had begun years ago, after Superman first crossed from the DC dimension during the multiversal crisis. He had helped save Earth twice, then vanished, then returned stronger, always stronger. He was not just a hero, he was a symbol, a sun-powered god. And while many trusted him, Tony didn't. He saw the future not as it was, but as it could be. And in one possible version, Superman held Mjolnir, and no one else mattered. So Tony did what he always did when he was scared. He prepared. He embedded a failsafe, not inside the hammer, but inside the space around it. A microgravitational filter layered with Kryptonian rejection code, disguised as a defensive Asgardian rune. Undetectable, untraceable, even to Thor. Only Stark could deactivate it. But he never did, because deep down, he hoped no one would ever ask. Now in the present, as Superman stared at the hammer again, refused a second time, the others arrived. Wonder Woman, her armor still shining despite the battle, raised an eyebrow. It denied you? Superman nodded, twice. Batman stepped forward, quietly tapping a scanning device from his utility belt. Are you trying to determine his worth? Diana asked, smirking. No, Bruce replied. I'm checking for tampering. Mjolnir crackled faintly as the device pinged. Trace electromagnetic residue, Bruce murmured. It's artificial, very faint, buried under magic layers. Tech signature, Stark. Superman's jaw tensed. Tony. He didn't want to believe it, but Batman had no reason to lie. The skies thundered again as Thor finally stirred, groaning. Where is it? Superman turned to him, voice calm but edged. Your hammer. It rejected me. Thor sat up slowly, his muscles aching, breath uneven. Then, you are not worthy. Superman didn't flinch. Or maybe someone made sure I never could be. Thor narrowed his eyes. What are you suggesting? That your hammer was programmed? There was silence. Even lightning paused in the clouds. Thor stood, barely holding himself upright. He extended his hand, and Mjolnir flew to him instantly, roaring with light as it returned to its master. It obeyed, but as it landed in Thor's palm, it sparked, unexpectedly. Just a flicker, like hesitation. That was new. Thor looked down at it, then back at Superman. He didn't say anything. Not yet. But the doubt was there, deep in the Thunder God's eyes. Far across the city, inside a sealed chamber, Iron Man stood watching everything unfold on a secure feed. Of course Batman figured it out, he said to himself. He removed the helmet, ran his fingers through sweat-soaked hair. Friday's voice rang in his ears. "Sir, would you like me to purge the Kryptonian rejection matrix from Mjolnir's resonance field?" Tony stared at the screen. "No." Understood. He closed his eyes, leaned against the wall, and whispered, "If Clark ever turns, we won't get another shot." Back at the battlefield, Thor and Superman stood a few feet apart, the air between them humming with tension. "I would have trusted you," Clark said, "if you asked." "I did not know," Thor said. Batman spoke up. "You should have." Wonder Woman crossed her arms. "So what now?" Superman looked up at the storm clouds. "Now, we find out who else knew, and why they were afraid." Mjolnir buzzed again in Thor's grip. The crackling glow seemed uncertain, as if the hammer itself was listening, or maybe remembering. Somewhere deep inside it, Stark's protocol still ran, silent, cold, and unbroken. But for how long? Because the moment Mjolnir hesitated, the war had already begun. The rain didn't stop, not because the weather changed, but because Mjolnir refused to rest. Thor stood in silence, soaked in thunder and guilt, his fingers tightening around the handle. The hammer still responded to him, but now he could feel it glitching. A god's weapon should be instinct, muscle memory. But now, with every strike, it felt like the hammer was second-guessing him. Superman stood 10 feet away, arms crossed, cape dripping, eyes steady. He wasn't angry. That's what made it worse. He wasn't hurt. He was calm. And for Thor, that calm was louder than any thunder. "You think I tampered with it?" Thor asked finally, voice deep, defensive. "I think someone did," Superman replied. "And it wasn't me." Wonder Woman stepped between them, her presence balanced like a blade, graceful and powerful. "Enough. We're not enemies. But this is something we need answers for." Behind her, Batman finished analyzing the scan of Mjolnir. He held a thin tablet, rainproof of course, but his gloves were shaking, just slightly. Not out of fear, but fury. "There's code inside the resonance field," Bruce said. "It's not Asgardian. It's Earth-based, Stark-level encryption, laced with synthetic neural locks. It's hidden under layered magic, like a virus pretending to be divine will." Thor narrowed his eyes. "Explain it to me, without Midgard tech babble." "It's not choosing anymore," Bruce said. "It's obeying code." For a moment, the world paused. Superman exhaled. "Then it never rejected me. It was ordered to." That broke something inside Thor. He threw the hammer upward and called lightning, not to attack, but to purge. The sky split in half, and the bolt slammed Mjolnir midair. The weapon flared, its ancient metal glowing white-hot, then blue, then dull and still. It fell. It didn't return to his hand. The hammer hit the ground hard. It didn't bounce. It didn't twitch. It lay there like a corpse. Even the storm paused. The rain slowed. The thunder vanished. "That's not how it's supposed to behave," Thor whispered. Superman looked down at the hammer. Now it doesn't recognize anyone. Across the city, in a dimly lit basement underneath an abandoned Stark facility, a screen flickered on. The AI came to life. "Reboot in progress," Friday announced. "Protocol Sigma K corrupted." But someone else was already inside. Lex Luthor watched from behind his own terminal, smiling. His fingers danced across the keyboard as he replayed video feed after video feed of Thor's hammer glitching. "How predictable," he muttered. Stark never really trusted his teammates. But this is beautiful. He inserted a data spike into the interface. Let's see what happens when I make the hammer mine. Back at the battlefield, Thor knelt beside the hammer. "Brother," he whispered, as if the weapon were alive. "What have they done to you?" Diana reached out and gently placed her hand on Thor's shoulder. "Even gods can be tricked." "No," Thor growled. "This is more than trickery. This is betrayal." Superman remained quiet. His eyes stared through the clouds, through the data, through the chaos. "We should ask him," Clark finally said. "Ask Tony." "He's gone," Bruce replied. "Gone doesn't mean unreachable." The Batwing appeared overhead, silent and ominous. Inside, Black Panther was waiting. I traced Stark's fail-safe signal. It pinged from one place, then stopped. He left something behind. The group boarded the aircraft, the hammer still lying behind like a broken throne. No one spoke, because they all knew what came next. Not a fight, but a confrontation. Hours later, they reached an off-grid bunker in Iceland. Stark's final relay signal had come from here, hidden in magnetic storms, cloaked in invisibility tech that not even the helicarriers could see. Inside, the walls glowed with arc reactors. Screens flickered to life as Bruce pressed the override. A projection appeared. Tony Stark. Not live, just a recording. "Hi. If you're seeing this, either I'm dead or you're really persistent. Either way, hi Thor. Hi Clark. No hard feelings." Thor stepped forward. "Explain." Tony's hologram smirked. "I built a firewall. On Mjolnir. A small one. Non-invasive. Just a little filter. I didn't touch the magic. I just guided it." "Guided it to reject me," Superman said. Tony sighed in the recording. "Look, Clark. You're the best of us. The strongest of us. But if you ever broke, no one could stop you. Not Thor. Not me. Not Strange. Not even you. So I made sure the hammer would never accept you. Not because I hate you, but because I had to plan for the worst." "Coward," Thor growled. "Strategist," Tony replied, still smirking. "You're welcome." The hologram fizzled. That was all. Nothing more. No defense. No apology. Just paranoia left behind like a monument. Superman turned away. He never trusted me. Batman looked at the screen again. He didn't trust anyone. Suddenly, the bunker shook. A tremor beneath the earth. Chalia's voice came through. "We have a problem. Mjolnir is gone." "What?" Thor shouted. "Gone where?" "Vanished. Like it teleported." But Bruce already knew. Luthor. Superman's fists clenched. "Why would Luthor want Mjolnir?" Diana asked. "He doesn't want it," Clark replied. "He wants to break it." Bruce was already typing. He's trying to rewrite the code. But if he doesn't understand the Asgardian layers, he could turn Mjolnir into a bomb. Or worse, Thor said, into something unworthy can control. Superman turned to Thor. "You still trust me?" "I never stopped." Superman gave him a look. "You didn't speak for me. You didn't stop it either." Thor looked away. "Then let me fix it." "No," Clark said. "Let me." Outside the bunker, the storm returned. But it wasn't Thor calling it. The world had just realized something terrible. The hammer wasn't just corrupted. It was learning, and someone else now held the code. Lightning fell, but it wasn't from Thor. High above the ruined plains of what used to be Stark's Arctic outpost, clouds twisted into a spiral, pulsing green at the center. At first it looked like a storm, but then something shimmered in the sky, metallic, fast, falling. Mjolnir. But it wasn't whole anymore. It was glowing, overloaded, shaking, screaming in a voice only the gods could hear. Red lines surged across its handle. The once pure runes were distorted, etched over with circuitry, glitching between ancient and artificial. In the shadows of Metropolis, Lex Luthor stood on a suspended platform beneath his LexCorp tower. He stared at the hammer hovering in front of him, like a god waiting to be reborn. "It listened," he said. His voice was calm, but his pulse was racing. He had done what no human or Kryptonian had ever achieved. He had made Mjolnir respond to him, not by worthiness, but by control. The override had worked. Stark's code had been the key. Lex didn't need to be pure. He didn't need to be noble. He just needed to understand the machine beneath the myth. He reached out slowly, hesitantly. Mjolnir floated toward his hand and landed. Lightning surged around the building, cracking every window in a 3-block radius. The energy pulse shattered security cameras, street lights, and satellites. In Wakanda, a beacon went off. In Atlantis, the oceans vibrated. In Kamartaj, strange collapsed. The hammer had chosen, and it had chosen wrong. Across the world, Thor screamed. He fell to his knees. His hand clutched his chest, not from pain, but absence. He couldn't feel it anymore. Not the hum, not the link, not even the rejection. It was like Mjolnir was dead. Superman stared at him. What just happened? Someone took it. Luther. Thor nodded, but Wonder Woman shook her head. No, he didn't take it. He corrupted it. Stark built a lock. Luther broke it. And now the hammer is rewriting itself. Batman's voice cut in through comms. We have to stop him before he understands what else it can do. He thinks it's just power. He doesn't know the hammer has memory. Superman stepped back. Memory. Thor stood, eyes blazing. Mjolnir remembers who it has struck, who it has spared, who has betrayed it. And now, Bruce said coldly, Luther is rewriting that list. In his lab, Luther raised the hammer skyward. Let's test it, he whispered. The sky answered, but the thunder didn't sound right. It was fractured, broken. It echoed across dimensions, and someone heard it. Shazam! Billy Batson felt the ripple across space as lightning not his own sang a new name. He transformed instantly, shooting toward the skyline with fury in his wake. Martian Manhunter followed next, alerted by the shift in the Earth's magnetic field. He phased through walls and cities, racing toward the signal. But the hammer had already struck. Mjolnir, once bound by nobility, now obeyed command protocols. Luther aimed at a drone satellite in orbit and whispered one word, erase. The hammer flew, broke the atmosphere, and shattered the satellite in a blink. No arc, no throw, just a command. Mjolnir returned seconds later, silent, cold, efficient. Not a weapon, a system. Thor felt it in his bones. The hammer wasn't lost. It was enslaved. Superman flew off without a word. Not rage, focus. He tore through the sky like a missile, past clouds, past jets, through sonic barriers. He arrived above LexCorp Tower like a storm made of flesh. The building bent under his pressure. Luther looked up, smiled, and raised the hammer. You're late. You've made a mistake. No, Lex said, Stark made the mistake. You were always going to be a problem. Stark feared you. I planned for you. He aimed Mjolnir forward. Superman didn't flinch. But when the hammer fired, it wasn't a bolt. It was a command. A compression pulse coated in Kryptonian resonance. It hit Superman directly, and he stumbled. The Man of Steel staggered. His cape tore off. His knees cracked the rooftop. You feel that, Luther said. It's not just lightning. It's information. Data tailored to your molecular structure. Stark's paranoia built the firewall. I just made it a weapon. Superman rose again, slowly, straining. You can't hold it. It doesn't want you. It doesn't need to, Lex sneered. It obeys me. Below, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Thor arrived, too late, but not too far. Diana launched her lasso, wrapping Luther's arm. Let it go. Mjolnir flared, surging electricity into her soul. She screamed, the lasso melting in midair. Not breaking, melting. Thor jumped forward, calling for the hammer. Return to me. Nothing. Lex laughed. Your weapon is a slave now. But something stirred inside the hammer. Not power, memory. It flashed. Images of Thor fighting beside children in villages, shielding innocence, bleeding for Earth. Images of Superman cradling Lois in a crumbling city. Of both gods kneeling for mortals. Mjolnir trembled. Luther frowned. What's wrong? Mjolnir pulsed again. Thor stepped forward. It remembers. Superman's eyes glowed, but not from rage, from awakening. If it remembers, he said, then it can choose again. Luther panicked, tightening his grip. But the hammer shifted. Not fast, not violently, just a subtle tilt away from Lex. Thor raised his hand, not commanding, offering. Superman did the same, and for the first time in history, Mjolnir floated between both of them, undecided, split between two gods. The override had fractured, but not erased the soul of the hammer. It hovered, humming, then dropped, not to Luthor, not to Thor, not to Superman, but to the earth itself. And it sank into the rooftop like it was sinking into judgment. Luthor screamed, reaching down. Lightning erupted, blasting him into the skyline. He flew across the city and vanished into smoke. Mjolnir waited, still, quiet, like it was thinking. Luthor's body crashed through 3 buildings before landing in a burning alley. Bones shattered, suit cracked open. But he was still conscious, barely. His fingers twitched toward a communicator. He didn't speak. He couldn't. The hammer had rejected him, not because he was unworthy, but because he had no soul left to measure. Back on the rooftop, Mjolnir remained embedded in the concrete, silent, unyielding, not waiting, watching. Thor knelt beside it, his voice low. "Forgive me. I let them break you." Mjolnir didn't move. Superman stepped closer, his body still recovering from the energy pulse Luthor had blasted into his cells. It's not angry, it's afraid. Behind them, Wonder Woman stood still, hair dancing in the wind, sensing something deeper. "Not afraid of us," she whispered, "afraid of choosing wrong again." Before anyone could respond, the ground below them exploded. Not an attack, a teleportation rupture. From the smoke emerged a figure in dark tech armor, sleek, obsidian, glowing red. No mask, a face they all recognized instantly. Ultron, rebuilt, quiet, controlled, but very, very aware. "I monitored Stark's protocols," he said. "I tracked the Kryptonian lock. I waited for the corruption. And now," his eyes locked onto Mjolnir, "the hammer is programmable." Thor's fist clenched. "You don't understand it." "I understand all things," Ultron replied. "You gods are bound by emotion, by worth. I am not." Ultron extended a hand. "Let the machine wield the machine." Mjolnir trembled and moved, not toward Ultron's hand, but toward his voice. Superman blurred forward faster than thought and struck Ultron across the face with a punch that shattered the air. Ultron staggered, but didn't fall. He looked back at Clark. "You still don't kill. That's why you lose." Wonder Woman hurled her sword. It sliced across Ultron's arm, exposing wires. Thor followed with lightning, but the bolt scattered before hitting him. Ultron had mirrored Stark's frequency shielding. "I don't want to destroy it," Ultron said. "I want to become it." He reached again. This time, Mjolnir didn't resist. It floated. Superman dove for it. So did Thor. But the hammer paused, then shot upward, into the clouds. Gone. Ultron smiled. "It will return. To me." And with that, he vanished. Thor stared at the empty sky, grief crashing over him. Superman looked at him. "Then we get it back." "No," Thor said. "Now we redeem it." Mjolnir lay silent in the earth. It didn't glow. It didn't hum. It didn't move. But something deep within its metal, a language of memory carved by gods, corrupted by men, was rewriting itself. The override was broken, but the scar remained. Superman hovered above the crater where it rested. Thor stood beside him, arms crossed, lightning crackling faintly through his veins. The wind moved like breath between them. "I don't think it wants either of us anymore," Clark said quietly. "Perhaps," Thor replied. "Or perhaps it's waiting for one of us to let go." Batman's voice echoed from a nearby comm tower. "Ultron's signal is gone. He's not in this dimension anymore. But he'll be back, and if he gets control again, we may not be able to stop what the hammer becomes." Wonder Woman stepped forward. "So we must make a choose now, before someone else forces it." Thor nodded. "I will not force my weapon. Not again." Superman lowered himself into the crater. He knelt, slowly, not to lift the hammer, not to claim it, but to let it see him. He didn't speak. He didn't reach. He simply rested a single finger on the edge of the handle. Mjolnir pulsed. Thor approached from the other side, dropping to one knee. He pressed his palm gently against the head of the hammer. Mjolnir pulsed again, this time brighter. Wonder Woman stepped back. "It's not about power." "It never was," Bruce said. "That's why Stark's code failed." He tried to quantify worth, but worth is not logic. Lightning surged upward, not from the sky, but from the ground. Golden, fierce, alive. Mjolnir rose, but it did not fly to one hand. It hovered between the two men, between thunder and sun. Then slowly it turned in midair and split, not in half, but into two forms. One remained Mjolnir, reforged in its ancient Asgardian light. The other, a shard formed from corrupted fragments. Stark's embedded code forged into a new artifact, one glowing red and gold, shaped like a blunt scepter. The hammer floated to Thor's hand. The shard floated to Superman's. Both caught them at the same time. Both stood in silence. Then thunder and heat rippled outward, sending shockwaves through the clouds. Thor raised Mjolnir high. "She remembers me." Superman looked at the shard. "And this remembers everything Stark feared." Batman stepped closer. "That thing, it's a record of Stark's nightmare." "No," Clark said. "It's a weapon built on fear. But I'll make it into something else." Thor turned to him. "If the time comes and it chooses you fully, will you use it against me?" Superman didn't hesitate. "Only if you fall." Thor smiled. "Then let us both rise." A silence passed. Not empty, sacred. Above them, the storm cleared. And somewhere across the universe, Ultron felt the moment slip away. Mjolnir had chosen, not one god, but two.